Wow. Good morning, everybody. Brock, I wasn't actually sure. It's funny. I was like, ooh, I should text him. I didn't know if you were going to be opening this or if you just wanted me to roll right into it because I know you're in your car this morning.
You go right ahead, Britt. It's all you today. It is all you today.
All
I'm just
right.
I'm just I'm just a listener today.
Oh, well, hey, okay. Well, who's ready? Let's
Ready, break.
I know. And let's go. All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. My name's Brittney Hall. I get to join you guys on the third Wednesday of every month, and that is super fun. And I always want to bring you guys some like really great stuff. So why don't you guys just like pop in the chat this morning and be like, I'm here, I'm ready, let's go. Like, let's start the energy. I'm on Central Time, so it is 7:15 in the morning. So, it's like the hair might come together today, trying to get kids out the door. Like, it's a whole first thing in the morning is kind of wild. So, way to go to actually show up for yourself. And, I love that you guys, Brock has such a cool thing that he's created here. I'm like, man, you do this show 5 days a week. This is wild. And so many of you show up every day consistently. And what's really cool about that is you can give yourself a pat on the back because consistency is definitely a clue of success when you can do something over and over and over again. But then what's really cool is when you take what is being said on these Zooms, these teaching, these inspirations, and you can go and then utilize it out like in your day and in the world. So I just want to encourage you to make sure you're doing that because sometimes we can get stuck in just like the learning and not the doing. And so it's always good to have a little bit of self awareness with that and go, okay, I know I love learning. I know I love being a part of the community, but am I actually taking it and using it to go move my business and my life forward? So I'm kind of a big one on that. I've worked in coaching companies for years. I built my own coaching business in the health space, successful with that. And now I have the ability where I get to help entrepreneurs and help their businesses grow and help them in different ways. And so it's super fun that I get to join you guys once a month and pour in to you here. So who's ready to go for the next 27 minutes? We're going to be talking today. I love it. Bethany's like, yeah, I love it. Okay. Um, Today we're talking really about these two kind of dynamics, and one is being the CEO in your life and one is being the employee. Okay, and this is really, I know Jessie, she's a part of my Tuesday group. I have a Tuesday coaching group that I do, and so it's a little repetitive of yesterday, but we're gonna make it a little bit different. So Jessie, like, stay with me. But I want you to think about this, and when you think about being an employee, which I want to put the disclaimer on, there's nothing wrong with being an employee. Like, I was an excellent employee when I worked in different companies. I would always consider myself an intrapreneur, where I was a self-starter. I took a task. I wanted to make the company better. I wanted to make the company more money. Like, I was always really driven to make things better, which that was kind of like my university and my like learning ground and my education for what I'm doing now in my own business. So like, there's never ever a time that I would want to knock being an employee. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think if I'm in the right room, we're all entrepreneurs. Is that right? Or we have something that we're trying to build. Like, there's a reason why we're here, right? Showing up to learn. So if you would consider yourself an entrepreneur, a business owner, put a one in the chat. Just want to make sure I'm in the right room this morning. Try to be like Brock. Put a two in the chat. Put a six in the chat. I love that. Okay, I'm in the right room. Okay, that's good. That's good. You're paying attention and you're like, yes, we're entrepreneurs. But let's kind of talk about what happens because how many of you have had a job before where you were an employee? Like, just like blink at me, right? We've all started somewhere. And what happens is when we're an employee, kind of the thing with that is somebody creates a structure for you. They like somebody tells you when you have to be there, when you can leave, how much money you're making, when you can take a lunch, when you're taking your breaks. They literally like create the full structure for you. So you just show up, you do the job that you were hired to do. You have a job description, right? And then you clock out and you don't even have to think about it anymore. Most jobs, right? But what happens is when you become the entrepreneur, the CEO of your life, of your business, is that now you don't have a time that you have to be at work. You can clock out anytime you want, but there's always going to be consequences for the decisions that you make. But you have total freedom to actually do what you want. You don't have to follow up with anybody. You don't have to go prospect for new clients. But what's going to be affected on the back end? Your revenue. And then the business isn't doing so well, right? But you can also be the complete opposite where you live and breathe and grind and you are so in it that you start to lose these little pieces of your life. How many of you have ever done that before? You were like, I was almost too all in. Okay. I had a mentor one time that told me, you can go all in. And I think we should always be all in anyway. So, like, I say things, and then in my brain, I go, but that could also not be true. So, like, 99%. Okay. Like, this is like the rule, there's always exceptions. Okay. But if you go all in and you're grinding hard, you want to make sure that it's just for a season because you sometimes we're working so hard and so many hours because we have some big goals that we're trying to hit, and that's beautiful. But you want to make sure that that season doesn't become your life. Okay, there's a time and a boundary and like the healthy balance behind that where you go, okay, like I also need to make sure that the business is serving my life, it's not running my life. I was in a season where our family, I built a big business in network marketing. Started in 2017, built it. I resigned from that company last year and it started as a side hustle and then I got in it. And I was going and I was building and I was kind of like the little like superstar that all the leaders were like, "Oh, this girl," and like that felt really good. And then what happened was that really became my identity. And it was like I was always pushing for the next thing and the monthly cycle and the end of the month and can I get one more deal done? And then what happened was that business actually started to decline because it was in the health space and then all the GLP-1s came out, and so that took a tough hit. And so then I was like, oh my God, like what are we going to do? Because I had retired my husband. He didn't have we were like we moved to Texas. We didn't have the connections anymore like we had before when we lived in Oregon. And it was kind of like, ooh, like crap, what do we do? And I swear I have a point. And I pivoted and I actually went to work for Michael Burt. And some of you guys know that because Brock has shared, but I started selling for him because I was like, yeah, I can sell, I can talk to people because that's how I built my business was in relationships and talking to people. I was like, yeah, give me a list. Like, I'll see what I can do because I've always been like a hungry entrepreneurial type of spirit and my family needed money. Like, so it's like I was ready to grind because like when you've got two kids and you and your husband are like, I don't think we can take another like draft out of that retirement account, like that this isn't good. Like we have to figure something out. And I went all in. And I'll tell you guys, I worked 7 days a week probably for a year. And I traveled multiple times a month and I was closing out back end rooms, like sales in the rooms. And you know what? There was some months that I made $25,000 and I had never made money like that before. And I was like, this is freaking killer. But what happened was I missed out on stuff with my kids. I gained weight. I started to have migraines. It was like, I was so frustrated with the way that things were going. So I was making great money, but like I want to make sure that you guys are getting the correlation of I was almost too in it, and that my health and everything was, um, kind of being sacrificed. I don't know why I decided to tell you guys that story. Maybe somebody needed to hear that today. I don't know. I didn't share that with my group yesterday, but it's like really important that like we aren't the employee where we're just like trying to do the motions or do the tasks. But when we become everything, we have to make sure that we have a structure that supports the life that we're trying to create. Because why are we all in business for ourselves? Let's just take a moment to even think about that. Like, why are you working for yourself? Why do you not have a job for somebody else? Like, what is that? I want you to drop it in the chat because I think it's important for us to remember that because I will say it every day till I'm blue in the face. It's freaking hard to be in business for yourself. That's why there's such a big reward because when you work for yourself, you have the ability to go and make as much money as you're able to. Nobody's going to put a ceiling on you. You want to raise? Go freaking close another deal, right? I love it. My kids, my purpose to take care of our family. Don't want to answer to somebody else. That is me too, Fran. That is me. Freedom. Yep. I see these things that come across my Instagram. I must, I'm in that algorithm where they're like, I'll be damned as an adult if I'm going to have somebody else go tell me when I can eat my lunch. Like, no. I'm not doing it, right? So I love that. So no micromanagement. It's hard when you're an entrepreneurial spirit and then you have somebody telling you to do things that you're like, this makes no sense. Like, why would I do that? It's just like, it's crazy. So I love that. So let's talk about, we're going to dive into this of really what being the CEO and owning that energy in your life, what that looks like. And you might be like, that's not my title. But here's the thing. Some people like they love the title, they don't love the work that comes with it. So we're not going to talk about the title. We're talking about it as this idea and the energy behind it, and then what you have to do to really like step into that, okay? Because I don't care if you're the CEO of a company. I mean, technically, I'm the CEO of my company, right? And then I have people that work for me and other titles, but it's just a title. The thing about being the CEO is that there's certain habits that they have, right? And even if you're like, I just sell real estate, like I don't even have an office, like whatever. But are you the CEO of your life? That's the thing. Are you the CEO of your life? Are you the visionary of your life? I don't know if any of you are familiar with EOS. There's a great book called Traction. It's just like, I haven't even read the whole thing, but I've taken ideas from it because I love how they organize people like on teams and how things are set up for success and how to really like place people in an organization. And there's the CEO, and the CEO is always the visionary. And then they have integrators and the people that work for them. But sometimes what happens is we're the team of one, and so we're the CEO, the visionary, all the things. But when we show up and it's like we're reporting for duty for the day, we need to first tap into what is the vision. What is the vision that I have for my business, for my life, for my family? Because if we lose that and we go into employee mode and we're just answering emails and getting back to messages, that stuff is all very important, but don't go do that before you tap into what's the vision. If you go into big organizations and you like Googled, what is the job of the CEO? They set the vision. And then they make sure that everybody on that team is working towards the vision, towards the goal. And like I said, if you're a team of one, cool. You set the vision, but then you got to make sure that all the stuff you're doing when you're the marketer and you're the customer service person and you're the sales rep and you're like operations and everything else, and you're a mom or a dad and all the things, you got to make sure that the decisions that you're making throughout the day, the actions that you're taking, everything is feeding that vision. So the vision is always first. Okay. Man, I'm getting wound up this morning. I'm like, what time is it? Like, okay, here we go. So we're going to talk about 7 habits of being a CEO. Okay. And so I want you to write down first because I want this affirmation. Brock, I was listening on your call yesterday, and I like heard everybody coming off, and like saying the affirmations. I was like, this is crazy. I was like, maybe I should be the one who says something crazy where he's like, one of these days it's going to bite me. I was like, it should be me. But I have an affirmation for you, and I want you to write down, I'm the CEO of my life. And we're going to talk about the different habits of being a CEO, this being in this energy. And this affirmation is going to be able to trigger some of the things that I'm going to talk about today, because sometimes we need a reminder of who we are and what we're doing, because we have to deal with people, and sometimes people make things messy, or they make us insecure, or they kind of knock our confidence, and it's like, oh, so this affirmation is going to be a reminder. I'm the CEO of my life. And really what this means, this used to be like a second affirmation. Here's a secondary one, like a sub affirmation. I'm in charge of me. And that was something that I had to say when I was building that business that I talked about, that I built over 7 years. And I had never really built anything like that before. And I was 30 years old. I had 2 little kids. Like, it was crazy. I was doing sales calls and like changing diapers. Like, it was madness. But I kept saying, I'm in charge of me, because when you're building a business, you're going to face rejection. You're going to face judgment. You're going to face people who don't understand what you're trying to do and why you're trying to do it. And they might block you on social media, or they might troll you, or you might hear that they said something bad about you. That happened to me a lot. But then for every one of those, there was always like 10 people that were like, man, you inspire me. Way to go. But what's so crazy is that one just like can just eat away at it, right? And so I just have to kept telling myself, I'm in charge of me. I'm not in charge of them. Okay. So when we say we're the CEO over our life, that's all we have control over is our life and how we react to these outside things, but we can't control the outside things. Okay. So how many of you, this is a random, just little whoop, and then we'll talk about the 7 habits. Have you heard of the circles of influence? So I want you to picture 3 circles. So there's the inner circle, and that's you. You have total in control over yourself, right? And then there's another circle just outside of it. So just outlining that circle. And that's your circle of influence. So people in that circle, those things, you have influence over that. So that's where maybe like your family, employees, friends, like you have influence in their life, but you don't have control. But that's like a false narrative that we think we can control, even our children, right? Like they're their own little people. So we can't control them, but we can influence them. And then there's one more circle outside of that. And those people that are out there, you have no control over. And so it's important when we're dealing with people and dealing with different situations, we go, okay, which circle is it in? Is it me? I got it. I need to pivot. I need to elevate. I got to take a walk, like whatever that is. And then there's, I don't have control, but I have influence. Or there's, you know what? I don't have any control. And what do we do when we don't have control? We release it because you don't want to spend any energy there, right? So I don't know why I felt like I needed to share that, but I hope it was helpful. Okay, so let's roll into these 7 habits. This isn't out of a book or anything like that. It's just notes that I have for you today. So, how does a CEO really show up in that energy? The first one is calm authority. And so, what this looks like is a CEO doesn't rush their words, they don't react emotionally, they don't scramble. In chaos, their energy isn't chaotic, it's we'll handle this. Like, we got it. It's steady, it's grounded, and it's measured. And the thing that's really cool about this is that when you can be this person with this energy, is the people on your team or the people around you or your friends, your family, they're going to borrow from that energy. Like, when something like gets like something happens, like say something crazy, it's like, oh my gosh. I mean, it could be even something not that crazy, but something in your house. It's like, I remember my husband told me one time, like their Christmas tree like fell over like 10 minutes before they were going to have a party. It's like, being in that CEO energy, even though it's not a work thing, it's like, okay, we're not going to freak out. We're going to, like, everybody has a job. We're going to get this tree back up. We're going to sop up the water on the carpet, and we're going to do what we got to do to like somebody get the vacuum. It's like this calm energy of like, I've got this, I've got a plan, and let's roll. And so one thing that I want you to write down with that is certainty. I actually myself started working with a coach recently, and she was telling me, she's like, it's being in that authority is having total certainty. She goes, even if you don't have the answer, be completely certain that you don't know the answer. And that having that confidence, which we're going to get to confidence in a little bit, is like game changer. So I want calm authority. Okay. And I'm like, we already have 12 minutes left. Like, I got to get going here. Okay. I can just like, if you've met me before or heard me speak, I can just talk and talk. And so I got to like reel it in here. All right. The second one is decisiveness. So CEOs don't sit in limbo. If you're taking a long time to make decisions in your life, like just sometimes, yes, like I said, there's always outliers. Like sometimes there's big life altering decisions that you really need to think about and pray on and really like tap into. But the majority of our decisions in our life are not that big of a deal. And we can always change our mind later. But if you find that you're being indecisive, there's something about you that doesn't trust yourself. So I don't know why, right? Maybe you've made some bad choices in the past. And you're like, I don't make good choices. So now I don't even trust myself to make decisions. Or last time I made a decision, I didn't really like the outcome. But the thing is okay, you can always start fresh and start new and make new decisions and better decisions and create better results. So, like anything that's happened in the past doesn't matter. Like, who cares? Don't even think about it because it doesn't affect your present day. You're always moving forward in a new way. So, don't be afraid to make a decision. And here's the thing, this is interesting. I was talking about this on my call yesterday. And I think women maybe struggle with this more. I'm not a man, so I don't know how to but my husband and I have talked about this a lot. But when you make a decision, that's it. You don't have to explain yourself. And I think that, have you ever heard the saying, when men make a decision, that's it. But when women make a decision, it's the start of like a conversation or like a negotiation. And it's like crazy. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but there's something there's something there. And it's not to hate on men or anything like that, but it's just like that's something I've noticed that my husband, when he makes a decision, he doesn't care what anybody thinks. about his choice. And I'm always like, is everybody happy with me? Like, was that okay? Like, questioning myself a little bit. It's so funny. Men are like waffles, women are spaghetti. That's hilarious. So the thing with being decisive and being that leader, and think about CEOs and businesses, they make hard decisions and they make the decision and they go with it. And so decisiveness actually is also one of the top habits of high performance. It's a high performance habit. Brendon Burchard's book, number one habit, decisiveness. All right, moving on. They think about the big picture. We hit on this in the beginning. It's the vision. You're always thinking big picture. We have to know where we're going, and then we reverse engineer it into our actions for the day, right? But we always think about the vision. Then we go, what am I doing today? What's going to move the needle today? What's going to move it forward? So you're always thinking about the long-term vision. Who needs to be better at this, by the way? Like, yes, I love it. Me. Sometimes we just get so caught up in the little things, and then we do these little things and we're like, was that even doing anything for me? Or, hey, I feel good about it. I got a dopamine hit because I vacuumed my house today. But did I make any more money? No. So that can definitely happen. All right. Number 4, ownership energy. This is big, especially with the state of the world right now, right? And I mean, the world's always in a crazy place, no matter, like, depending on what vantage point. Nothing's ever going to be all good, right? Like, I know we want world peace and all that, but is that ever going to happen? Like, probably not in my lifetime, I don't think. Like, who knows? But the economy is going to be up and down. You might not like who's the president. You might not like what's going on the news right now. That stuff might be affecting you. But what I'm going to tell you is, if you're going to step into this ownership energy, the CEO energy, you go, do I have control over that? Guys, back to the circle of control. Like, okay, like, there's crazy stuff going on. ICE is a big topic right now. I'm not getting into politics, but that's just what's being talked about on social media and on the news and all these things. And it's like creating all this divisiveness. Now, am I going to look at that and go let that affect my day? Or if I have a client that maybe wants to go off on some political rant and I don't believe what they believe, am I going to let that even I'm going to go, oh, okay, well, hey, great. I'm not even going to talk about it. I'm just going to move on. And I'm going to, like, get the work done, because we're probably not going to change each other's minds. Like, I don't need to deal with that, right? I have no control. So I'm not going to spend my energy there and let it affect my business and affect my family and affect my life. What I'm going to go do, what I really truly believe is the most powerful thing you can create for yourself in the world, for your family, is wealth. So it's like, go make money. That's a quick way to fix a lot of problems, right? It's not everything, but there's nothing to replace it. Okay. So really truly having that ownership energy, no matter what is going on in the world. Okay. We got a couple more here. Clear boundaries. You set clear boundaries. The CEO protects their time. They don't over-explain their decisions. They don't chase approval, because if you want the approval of everybody, you can't lead. Because the thing is God put you in the position you're in. If you're in a leadership role, if you're doing your thing, and remember, leadership is also leading yourself. You're in that role because that's your role to fulfill. It's not so everybody else can tell you how to do it and they can approve of your decisions. So you don't need anybody's approval. If you're certain, that goes away, right? And you don't need to be liked by everyone. How many of you struggle with this? Like, drop a 5 in the chat if you've ever struggled with, I'm worried if people like me. I want to be liked. It is human for us to want to be liked, because back in, like, the caveman days, when people had to be in, like, tribes and groups of people to survive because of resources, it's like that is still hardwired in our nervous system, that we feel if people don't like us, it's almost like we think we're going to die. Like, you're not going to die. It's okay if people don't like you, because remember, God gave you the vision. God gave you the mission, whatever that is. And he didn't give it to somebody else. He didn't give your vision to somebody else for them to co-sign on. So, like, that's not your problem, what they think, okay? I got 2 more. Quiet confidence. This kind of pairs really well with that calm authority, but quiet confidence. It's really important to know the difference between confidence and arrogance. They are not the same. Sometimes we see somebody who's very arrogant and we go, oh, they're just very confident. No, they're a jerk. So this confidence is not led from ego. It's led from that certainty. that trust in yourself. So confidence, just talking about that, because I think it's really important, because I think it's something that we always need to be working on, because sometimes we get knocked down in life and it hurts our confidence. But how you build your confidence is by stacking up wins. You build confidence by building your skill. You build confidence by keeping promises to yourself. You build confidence by surviving hard things. How many of you have been through something hard in your life? Probably all of us. Many times, right? We've all been through hard stuff. Remember, we deal with people. We live with people. People make things hard. They also make things really great. It's usually the hardest and the best part of business is the people, right? And then you build confidence by being able to regulate your emotions in tough situations. So, like I said, like some of the things we talked about, it's like instead of getting rattled, you remember, do I have control over this? Nope. Okay. I'm going to take a deep breath. Even though I'm feeling really triggered right now, and I kind of want to punch this guy in the face, I'm going to take a deep breath and I'm not going to punch him in the face. Right? And then you are like, oh, okay. Breath work is an incredible thing. Just like 3 deep breaths can like reset your nervous system. So always keep that in your tool belt. All right. And then the last one, which goes with this, is emotional containment. So a CEO can feel the frustration, they can feel fear, pressure, but they don't spill it everywhere. The emotions stay contained, right? Especially in a work environment. It's like if you need to get that, I believe in getting that energy out, maybe go to a kickboxing class, like go do something, right? Like get that energy out in another way, but definitely not at work. So we're almost at time, but I would love, does anybody have anything? I'd always like to keep a few minutes for any kind of like questions, takeaways. If you want to share with the group, let's just take a couple in our last few minutes and you can come off and share. Like, what was the takeaway for you today? Or something that you're like, I got to shift there. Like, that really stuck out to me because there was a lot. We went hard and fast in this 30 minutes. So, does anybody want to come off and share? It's totally okay. I don't want anybody to feel like pressure, but if you want to, you're welcome to. Where are you even able to? You should.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, yeah. Hey, Heather.
So, one of the things, we have 5 kids that are 18 to 31. And one of the things that I've always taught them, and then sometimes forget to do myself, is when you're walking into whatever that situation is for them, whether it was work or school or whatever, when you're walking through that door, just visualize it like a car wash. So, whatever you're going in with gets washed off of you. You walk in, you're a new person. Same thing. When you get stressed at work or school or something's happening, walk through that door. It's a car wash. You go to the next thing, clean, sparkly new, and you're not taking that with you.
I love that.
I just need to remember to do it myself. So hopefully it helps somebody else.
That's so good. And that's such a great visual. And it was funny, as you were saying that, I thought, how lucky are all of our kids that we're working on ourselves? Like, I love my parents. My parents are actually entrepreneurs, been in business over 40 years. Lots of stories about that. But man, they work their butts off and been very successful. But one thing that's funny, I don't know if it's that generation or what, they cannot admit if they were wrong. Like, there's like no personal development happening. They're like, no, that's the way it is. So it's like, it's funny. I'm like, man, our kids and, grandkids and whatnot, like how lucky that we just continue this journey of personal development and trying to make ourselves better. And we can kind of pour that onto them. That's so good. All right. If anybody else, we have one more if you want to share. If not, we'll just wrap it up. But you got to be quick because I'm not going to wait for forever. So if you want to say something, you better come off mute now. All right. We good? All right. Awesome. Well, you guys, thank you so much for being present. Thank you for your energy, popping that in the chat. Brock did, I think, put a couple things in. I'll do a quick plug. I do have a community on Tuesdays that I teach. I'm going to put a guest pass link in here for you. So just hang tight. Is it going to show up? Let's see. It's not. Sorry. It's like because the text is weird. Okay. I'm trying to think of a good way to get it to you. If you want to go to, actually, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. This might seem wacko, but I am going to give you my phone number because you can text me and be like, hey, can I have a guest pass? This is my personal cell phone number. It's incredible. Like you guys, the stories, like I said, I'm going to give a quick plug for it that are coming out of this group because we focus on bite-sized pieces. It's usually 35 minutes of teaching. We do Q&A. It's like, it's awesome. Come for free and check it out. It's like super low ticket if you decide you want to be a part of it. It's only $47 a month. But I have one client in there that came back this week and she goes, because we were talking about our goals and how close we are to our goals and revenue targets and like that transactional piece of the business. She's like, I was $2,000 away. And she goes, after your training, I went and got real gritty. She goes, in 1 week, I generated $2,500 in my business. And I was like, that is what we're doing. We don't need big, crazy concepts that just like motivate us. We need the bite-sized pieces to build our business. And so that's what we're doing in that group. So text me, like seriously, save my phone number, screenshot it, text me and say, I want a guest pass, and I'll send it to you. You just register and then all the stuff will be sent to you. But I would love to have you join us. It's Tuesdays at 12 Central, 1 o'clock Eastern. And if not, I'll see you guys in another month because I'm here for the next 4 months at least on the third Wednesday of the month. So love being with you guys. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.